Many gamers over 30 have realized it. Adulthood changes the way we play. Time is limited, energy runs low, and we don't always have the patience for massive open worlds packed with endless side quests. Sometimes, all we want is to switch off our minds and experience an intense, focused, and engaging story without wasting hours on unnecessary activities. That's when I came up with one of the most effective solutions to overcome this small problem: 15 linear games. Shorter, more focused, and memorable experiences designed to entertain you from start to finish. No distractions. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End? Man, if you're feeling that open world fatigue, Uncharted 4 is the ultimate remedy. Even in 2026, Naughty Dog's technical wizardry humbles almost everything else. This is the definition of a playable blockbuster. What makes it perfect for us is the seamless pacing. Technically, the game uses a hidden loading system, where the transition from a high-octane chase to a quiet, emotional character moment is completely invisible. There's no go fetch 10 herbs here. Every frame is designed to move Nathan Drake's story forward. The animation physics are still the industry standard. When Nate jumps for a ledge, his hand placement isn't a canned animation, it's a procedural system that reacts to the specific geometry of the rock. The lighting, especially in the Madagascar chase, uses high-end global illumination that makes the mud and the sun-drenched ruins look like a 4K movie. It's a 15-hour ride that respects your intelligence and your time. It's tight, it's polished, and the emotional payoff at the end hits way harder when you're an adult. It's the gold standard for linear storytelling. Titanfall 2 is arguably the best bang for your buck in gaming history. Its campaign is legendary because of its mechanical innovation. Instead of one long, repetitive loop, every single mission introduces a new technical gimmick, like the effect and cause level, where you shift time between the past and present with a single button press. Technically, the way the Source engine handles the momentum and wall running physics is flawless. It's a masterclass in first-person flow. The scale of the Titan combat versus the pilot movement is a technical balance that most developers still can't get right. The game manages to render massive, destructible environments and towering robots without ever sacrificing the 60 FPS or 120 FPS on modern rigs fluidity that makes the movement feel so good. It's a 6-hour campaign with zero filler. No towers to climb, no bloated skill trees, just pure high-octane creative genius. It's the perfect one-night stand of a game that will stay in your memory for years. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I know, the reboot trilogy is great, but Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the most technically refined of the bunch. For the gamer who wants to switch off, this is a 10 out of 10 experience in atmospheric immersion. The technical highlight here is the volumetric lighting and dense foliage rendering in the Peruvian jungle. The engine creates a god ray effect through the canopy that isn't just pretty, it actually plays into the stealth mechanics. When Lara covers herself in mud, the material shaders change the way light reflects off her skin, making you effectively invisible to the AI. The sound design is also a technical beast. Using 3D spatial audio, the jungle feels alive. You can hear the exact direction of a jaguar's growl or the drip of water inside a claustrophobic tomb. It's a linear path, but it feels massive because of the verticality and the Metroidvania-style gear gates. It gives you that sense of exploration without the frustration of getting lost in a 100-mile map. It's focused, it's visceral, and it looks absolutely stunning on a modern HDR screen. Detroit Become Human. Sometimes after a long day, you don't want to test your reflexes, you want to test your heart. Detroit Become Human is a technical marvel of narrative branching and motion capture. While many linear games are one and done, Detroit is a massive flowchart of possibilities. Technically, the way Quantic Dream tracks thousands of tiny variables to determine the fate of their characters is staggering. You're essentially playing a high-budget sci-fi film where your choices are the director's cut. The facial rigging and subsurface scattering on the android characters are so detailed that you can read their emotions through a twitch of a lip or a shift in the eyes. This isn't just for show, it's a technical tool used to build empathy. The world is linear, but the consequences are wide open. It's the perfect game for a gamer over 30 because you can play one chapter, feel the weight of your decisions, and put it down for the night. It's a smart, philosophical, and visually breathtaking experience that proves linear games can have more depth than any 100-hour open world.
I think the victim attacked the android.
Silent Hill 2 Remake. If you're over 30, you probably remember the psychological weight of the original, but this remake is a technical masterclass in environmental storytelling through tech. This is exactly what we need when we're tired, a game that doesn't rely on cheap jump scares, but on a suffocating atmosphere. Technically, Bloober Team used Unreal Engine 5's Lumen and Nanite to create a fog that isn't just a view distance trick anymore, it's a volumetric entity. The way light from your flashlight scatters through the mist, creating dynamic, long-form shadows that dance in the corners of your vision, is some of the best lighting work in 2026. The 3D audio design is the real star here. When you're walking through the Brookhaven Hospital, the sound of static on your radio isn't just noise. It's a directional warning system that utilizes binaural audio to mess with your sense of space. You'll hear something scratching just behind your real-world shoulder. The game is strictly linear, but the environmental density is so high that every room feels like a story in itself. It humiliates modern horror because it focuses on internal dread rather than external action. It's a slow-burn, high-fidelity nightmare that respects your time by making every second feel heavy with meaning.
Misstep was just a step in the right direction towards completing our best plan yet.
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the ultimate end of a long workday game. Guardians of the Galaxy humiliates the live service trend by being a focused, hilarious, and technically vibrant linear adventure. The secret sauce here is the inter-character dialogue system. Technically, the game handles thousands of lines of contextual banter that never feel repetitive. If you stop to look at an alien plant, Rocket or Drax will comment on it in real time, creating a sense of group flow that makes the world feel inhabited without needing an open world map. Visually, it's a ray tracing showcase. The alien worlds like Nowhere or the planet Lamentus are filled with neon colors and reflective surfaces that pop on an OLED screen. The global illumination makes the metallic corridors of the Milano look incredibly tactile. But for us, the best part is the huddle mechanic. When things get intense, you call a team huddle. The 80s pop music kicks in and the game gives you a massive buff. It's a shot of pure dopamine. It's a 15-hour space opera that understands exactly what it is. A fun, linear, story-driven ride with zero bloat and 100% heart. Dead Space Remake. If you want to talk about technical perfection in a linear corridor, the Dead Space Remake is the gold standard. Motive Studio implemented something called the Intensity Director, which is a technical AI dungeon master running in the background. It monitors your stress levels, your ammo, and your health, and then it dynamically triggers atmospheric events, a vent bursting, a flickering light, or a distant scream to keep the tension at a 10 out of 10 level. This means that even though the path is linear, the experience feels unique and terrifyingly reactive. Then there's the peeling system. Technically, the necromorphs aren't just character models with hitboxes. They have layers of skin, muscle, and bone that you physically peel away with your plasma cutter. This procedural dismemberment is some of the most visceral tech ever put in a game. Combine that with the Alive system, where Isaac's breathing and heart rate change based on his exhaustion and fear levels, affecting his voice lines in real time. It's a 12-hour claustrophobic masterpiece that feels incredibly heavy and industrial. It's the perfect game to play in the dark, when you want to be completely absorbed by a technical and auditory powerhouse.
Oh my god, Isaac. You made it.
They're everywhere.
Hurry. They must be done.
A Plague Tale Requiem. To finish this block, we have A Plague Tale Requiem, a game that pushes the technical boundaries of NPC swarm simulation. While modern open worlds struggle to render 50 people in a city, this game renders hundreds of thousands of rats simultaneously. Using a custom engine, the developers at Asobo Studio created a fluid simulation for the rat hordes where they flow like liquid through the streets of medieval France. It's a terrifying technical flex that creates a sense of scale that linear games usually don't have. But beyond the rats, the art direction and material fidelity are breathtaking. The way the sun hits the red stone of the Mediterranean islands, or the way the mud sticks to Hugo and Amicia's clothes, is next-gen in every sense of the word. The game is a narrative hammer. It hits you hard and doesn't let go. It's linear, yes, but the semi-open stealth sections give you just enough freedom to feel like a survivor, without the frustration of getting lost. It's a high-stakes, emotionally devastating story that looks and feels like a $200 million movie, but it's a focused 20-hour journey that is worth every single minute of your limited gaming time.
It's the shock.
Alan Wake 2. If you want to see what happens when a studio stops caring about mainstream appeal and focuses entirely on technical and artistic purity, you play Alan Wake 2. For us, the over 30 crowd, this is a prestige TV experience in game form. Technically, Remedy's Northlight engine is doing things in 2026 that still feel like witchcraft. We're talking about full path tracing on a scale that makes the forests of Bright Falls look disturbingly real. The way the moonlight filters through the volumetric fog and reflects off the damp, mossy ground isn't just a filter, it's a full physical simulation of light. But the real mind blow is the seamless reality shifting. With the press of a button, you switch between Alan in the dark place and Saga in the real world, and the engine swaps the entire world geometry, lighting profile, and asset library in a split second. No loading screen, no waiting in an elevator. It's a technical masterclass in SSD data streaming. The game is strictly linear in its narrative, but it uses environmental layering to make you feel like you're peeling back the skin of reality. It's a slow-burn psychological thriller that respects your patience and rewards you with the most atmospheric, high-fidelity experience currently available. It's not just a game, it's a technical hallucination.
Or both.
Will not falter. Let us steel ourselves against
Metro Exodus is the game that humbles the open world genre by being what I call a wide linear masterpiece. It gives you these massive, beautiful hubs like the Volga or the Caspian Desert, but it never loses sight of the focused linear journey of the Aurora train. Technically, 4A games are wizards of hardware-accelerated ray tracing. This was one of the first games to truly move away from fake lights to a global illumination system, where the sun is the only light source and everything else is a natural bounce. When you're in a dark tunnel and you light your lighter, the way the orange glow hits the rusted pipes is 100% physically accurate. For the gamer who hates clutter, the minimalist diegetic UI is a godsend. You don't look at a menu to see your map. RTM pulls out a physical piece of paper. You don't look at a HUD for ammo, you look at the physical magazine in your gun. This requires a massive amount of high-fidelity asset modeling because everything has to be readable in-world. The weather simulation is also a beast. Snowstorms and sandstorms actually accumulate on your gas mask, forcing you to manually wipe it. It's an immersive, gritty, and technically flawless journey that makes you feel the weight of every bullet. It's the ultimate post-apocalyptic road trip with zero wasted time. Resident Evil 2 Remake. This is the game that redefined the linear horror blueprint for the modern era. Resident Evil 2 Remake is a technical study in space management. The Raccoon City Police Department is one of the best designed levels in history. Technically, the RE engine shines here through its gore mesh system. Unlike other games where enemies just have damage textures, the zombies here have multi-layered anatomy. If you shoot a zombie in the shoulder, the muscle tissue peels back, the bone shatters, and the limb dangles based on a physics-calculated pivot. It's visceral, it's gross, and it's a technical marvel. And let's talk about Mr. X. His AI is a persistent technical threat. He isn't teleporting, he is physically walking through the building, and the 3D audio engine tracks his footsteps through the floors above you. This creates a linear path that feels dynamic because you're constantly rerouting based on a physical entity in the game world. The lighting is deep noir, utilizing high contrast shadows to hide the technical limitations and create a world that feels wet, dark, and dangerous. It's a 10-hour masterclass in tension that proves you don't need a massive map to feel completely lost and terrified. It's lean, it's mean, and it's a 10 out of 10 technical achievement. God of War 2018. To wrap up this block, we have the game that proved a linear action game could have the heart of a prestige drama. God of War 2018 is a technical revolution because of the one-shot camera. From the second the game starts until the credits roll, the camera never cuts. No loading screens, no cinematic jumps. This required a level of level design and streaming coordination that is borderline impossible. The world has to load and unload behind Kratos' back in real time while maintaining a cinematic flow. The combat is built on hit-stop tech and haptic calibration. When Kratos' axe hits a Draugr, the game freezes for a fraction of a second, a micro-stutter that gives the combat a physical crunch you can feel in your teeth. The environmental detail in Midgard, from the giant serpent's scales to the runic etchings on the rocks, utilizes a high-density decal system that makes the world feel ancient and heavy. It's a linear path through Norse mythology that feels epic without ever being empty. It's a story about a father and son that uses every bit of its technical power to keep you glued to the screen. If you're bored of generic games, Kratos will slap that boredom right out of you. Wolfenstein: The New Order. If you're over 30, you remember when shooters were just about guns and fun, but Wolfenstein: The New Order did something technically brilliant. It merged that classic arcade speed with a heavy cinematic narrative engine. Built on ID Tech 5, the game utilizes a technique called megatexture. Technically, this means that instead of repeating the same small textures over and over, the world is draped in massive, unique textures that give the Nazi-occupied 1960s a dirty, tactile, and one-of-a-kind look. Every bunker, every moon base, and every street in London feels handcrafted and physically solid. The weapon feedback and audio layering here are a total shot of adrenaline for a bored gamer. When you dual-wield those massive automatic shotguns, the screen shake, the particle effects of the muzzle flash, and the sound of the brass hitting the floor are all synchronized to create a technical power fantasy. But it's the pacing that wins. It moves from a high-stakes train infiltration to a quiet moment in a resistance hideout without ever wasting a second of your time. It's a linear shooter with a soul, a technical beast that understands that sometimes we just want to shut off our brains and save the world from an overwhelming evil. It's loud, it's proud, and it's zero filler. Max Payne 3 is a game that in 2026 still humbles 99% of the industry. Rockstar Games used their Rage engine and integrated it with the Euphoria physics system to create what is arguably the most technically impressive third-person shooter ever made. For the mature gamer, the weight here is everything. Max isn't a floaty superhero, he is a heavy, tired man, and the procedural animation reflects that. When you shoot dodge through a glass window, Max's body doesn't just play a falling animation. His limbs physically react to every object he hits in the environment. If his head hits a table, he flinches. If he lands on his side, he braces for impact. The gunplay tech is surgical. Every bullet is a physical entity with its own trajectory, and the impact shaders ensure that every hit on an enemy is anatomically accurate. The sound design is ultra-aggressive, with the roar of the guns in a Brazilian favela creating a level of cinematic chaos that is unparalleled. It's a strictly linear, mission-based game that feels like a 10-hour, booze-soaked Tony Scott movie. There are no side quests, no distractions, just you, a bottle of painkillers, and a technical masterclass in ballistic violence. It's the ultimate switch-off-the-brain game for someone who wants to see physics pushed to the absolute limit. Spec Ops: The Line. To finish this list, we have the hidden king of linear games, Spec Ops: The Line. On the surface, it looks like a generic military shooter, but technically and narratively, it is a subversive masterpiece. The game uses its environmental sandbox in a way that humiliates modern shooters. The setting is a Dubai buried in sand, and the sand physics are a core technical mechanic. You can shoot out a glass ceiling to bury a room full of enemies, or navigate through dynamic sandstorms that completely change the visibility and the AI's search and destroy logic. But the real technical soul here is the character transformation system. As the story gets darker, Captain Walker's physical model actually degrades. His face gets scarred, his uniform gets shredded, and his voice lines, which start as professional military jargon, gradually turn into screams of "kill them" or "he's dead." This isn't just a script, it's a systemic reflection of the character's psychological collapse. It's a 6-hour linear experience that uses its technical assets to punch you in the gut. It's the perfect game for an adult gamer because it respects your time by delivering one of the most powerful, thought-provoking stories in the medium's history, all wrapped in a gritty, physics-heavy sandbox. It is the definitive must-play before you die. And there you have it. 15 linear masterpieces that prove you don't need a 100-hour map to have a 10/10 experience. Now, I want to hear from you. Which linear game saved you from gamer burnout? Is there a hidden gem I missed that every busy gamer should play? Let's get this conversation started in the comments.